I called the Scarlet Pimpernel the granddaddy of all modern superheroes. Why on earth did I not just call him the daddy? Well, because I find this chap called Zorro being the daddy of all modern superheroes, and the Scarlet Pimpernel is clearly the daddy of Zorro. Zorro, the Black Fox, is this great swashbuckling hero who likes to hang around in the 17th century California, defending the people from the military power and bringing justice to the small state, while it was still only a part of Spain. Zorro's alter ego is this rich kid called Diego de la Vega. No, not a pocket thief called Alejandro Murrieta, as some of you might think, but I get to that later when I talk about the Antonio Banderas movies. Diego de la Vega, or just Diego Vega, as he is called in the original novel and a couple of movies, is a rich don and only heir to a big ranch. He pretends to be just a big fop, fooling everyone, including his father and Ladylove, so he can swing around at night in his secret persona. Sounds familiar to any of you? Well, it should be, because that is kind of the exact same routine as the Scarlet Pimpernel is all about, and it's the ground inspiration for the Batman character. Yeah, the Batman character suckers. Even in the Batman origin comics, we are shown that little Bruce Wayne was actually in cinema to see the Zorro movie the night his parents got killed, and Zorro was thus the figure that inspired him to become the Dark Masked Crusader, which is only the second Dark Masked Crusader in the history of heroes. Zorro is the first. Of course they had to change all that in the Christopher Nolan movie, where they went to see some kind of bad forced opera thing, I think. Seriously, Zorro is so much more fun. Well, the tale of Zorro started back in the year of 1990, when the first of the novel was published. It was written by Johnston McCulley, and would be a part of a much larger book serial. I, however, have only been able to get hold of the first book. Like the Scarlet Pimpernel, it is kind of a mystery novel, as we are not told who Zorro is but are supposed to guess, though somehow I think we are not meant to guess at all, but just figure out as we follow either Zorro or Diego in every second of the book, looking from a third perspective, and it seems a bit too obvious when those two are the two we always spend time with, but they are never in the same room. As opposed to the Scarlet Pimpernel, there has been made quite a lot of Zorro-related movies, television shows, and theatre plays, so I'm just going to talk about the stuff I actually do know something about. It didn't take long for the book to be filmaticized. Only a year after the book's release was made a silent movie starring Douglas Fairbanks, who is kind of the world's first movie action hero. I like this movie. I like it a lot. It sets the tone for what Zorro and swashbuckling movies is all about. It's just an all-around fun piece of work. Despite Douglas Fairbanks looks like a midget and no action here at all, he makes up for it with all his stunts and fighting skills, though he should stay more to fist fighting and jumping around the room than sword fighting. The sword fighting looks kind of ridiculous. He captures the fun and comedy of adventure and sets an example for all future filmmakers who want to do fun adventure and swashbuckling. In 1940, the movie was remade to the Tyrone Powers movie called Mark of Zorro. This is yet another movie I really like. I would even go as far as to say I really love it. And this is where the fop superhero routine really starts to take its toll. You can feel the inspiration is drawn a lot from the Leslie Howard Scarlet Pimpernel movie, only this is a bit more fun, as we are allowed to have some action and really great sword fights. Like Leslie Howard in the Scarlet Pimpernel, Tyrone Power has a great fop routine, and he loves mucking around with its enemies. He sounds so ridiculous late in his Diego persona, and then he snaps right back to the dashing hero in a millisecond. In this movie he is even allowed to throw some people off when he does it in public and thus revealing himself. I like it when he does it to the Padre, and for some moments the Padre seems to think Diego has gone quite mad. This is a movie that puts me in a good mood each and every time. It is also supposedly the movie young Bruce Wayne went to watch the night his parent got murdered. And I understand how the movie was able to inspire him so much. It is just an all-around good and inspirational movie. Well, I'm going to jump a bit in the timeline here and address the two American television shows a bit later, because I want to jump 58 years forward in time and talk about the Antonio Banderas movies, the sequel with the longest gap between the making of the original I have ever heard of. Yes, the Antonio Banderas movies is a sequel to the Toronto Power movie. You can even hear it in the titles. The first Toronto Power movie is called Mark of Zorro. The first Antonio Banderas is called The Mask of Zorro. And the sequel to the Antonio Banderas movie is called The Legend of Zorro. It's all in the titles. Well, why will the scriptwriters bother to actually write an entirely new storyline for an already well-established hero? Was their new idea so good and so great it just had to be filmed? Well, it's okay. The movie is a fine piece of vintage swashbuckling movie, but it's not as fantastic as the Toronto Power movie, in my humble opinion. Yeah, you heard me right. I really do favor the 84 movie way about the 1898. It's just so much more memorable and so much more fun, and I'm not just saying that because it's the original. It's just the way I feel. Like the Foppies routine, Antonio Banderas has only one single scene when he dines at the ball where he's allowed to act a bit foppish and jerk around, but even then, he only has one line to actually do it. That's really it. One line. Check out the Toronto Power movie, he does it all the time, and it's hilarious. Even the sword fights are more engaging in the Toronto Power movie, despite superior effects and techniques with the Antonio Banderas. And what about The Legend of Zorro from 2005? It's not downright bad, but it's definitely not good either. It's not as good as The Mask of Zorro, so it's definitely not near as enjoyable as The Mark of Zorro. But the Antonio Banderas movies is definitely not all that bad, as they allow for the character Push in Boots to appear in the Shrek movies where Banderas is obviously parodying his own Zorro character. I just love that little kitty Push in Boots. He is everything a swashbuckling character is supposed to be, and cuddly, which always makes a great plus.